She was folding a shirt when they started laughing. Not her shirt. His. One of those faded gray ones he'd worn so many times it had gone soft at the elbows. She folded it anyway. Neat. Deliberate. Placed it on the pile as if she were filing something away. Everyone else was loud. Someone had spilled a little wine and nobody cared. At least 3 conversations were happening at once, the way it gets when a family dinner tips from polite into comfortable. She just kept folding. I watched her from across the room, not because something was wrong exactly, just because she was the only still thing in it. That should have told me something. It had started maybe 20 minutes earlier. Someone brought up the business idea, Marcus's thing, the investment he'd been circling for months, the one he kept describing as a sure thing, with the particular confidence of someone who has never lost money yet. She looked up from her plate. "I wouldn't," she said. Just that. Quiet, almost conversational. "The numbers don't hold past the first year. I've seen this structure before." That was it. No dramatics, no long explanation nobody asked for. Someone laughed first. I couldn't even tell you who. Then it rippled. Marcus waved his hand like he was clearing smoke. "She worries," he said, smiling at the table. Not at her, at the table, like she was a weather pattern, a known inconvenience. She pressed her lips together once, then looked back down at her plate. Not hurt, not angry, just noting it, filing it, the way you file something you'll need later. I should tell you who was there. Marcus is my brother. His wife, the one folding laundry, the one with the quiet mouth, her name is Delia. They'd been married 6 years by then, long enough that people had stopped really looking at her when she spoke, long enough that her opinions had become part of the background noise of family dinners, like the TV someone leaves on in the other room. My mother was there, 2 of Marcus's friends, me. People who loved him, people who had, without ever deciding to, agreed that Delia was the cautious one, the worrier, the woman who reads fine print at parties. She'd been right before. Small things. Nobody kept score. I didn't defend her that night. I want to be straight about that. I think I even smiled, not at her but with the room, which is somehow the same thing. I've thought about that smile more than once since. 3 weeks passed, maybe 4. We had another dinner. Delia was there, same as always, passing dishes, refilling glasses, laughing at the right moments, present in every way that's easy to measure. But she didn't offer anything. No observations, no quiet corrections. Someone mentioned a contractor giving them a suspiciously low quote, and she just nodded. Months ago, she would have said something. 3 sentences, maybe 4. Useful ones. She didn't. I noticed, and I cut another piece of bread, and I didn't say a word. Neither did anyone else. The silence where her voice used to be just slowly became the shape of the room. The call came on a Tuesday. Marcus's voice is doing that thing where it's controlled, but only just. The investment had collapsed. Not dramatically. That's the thing nobody tells you about financial mistakes. They don't crash. They deflate. Slowly. Then completely. Like something losing air in a room where everyone pretends not to notice the sound. The numbers hadn't held past the first year. Exactly. We were all on a group call, faces in little rectangles, the modern version of gathered around a table. Someone made a joke. I don't even remember what it was. One of Marcus's friends. The kind of joke that needs the room to decide it's okay first. Nobody decided. One by one, the faces just went still. My mother looked at her hands. I looked slightly left of the camera, the way you do when you're thinking something you won't say out loud. Marcus didn't speak for a long moment. And Delia wasn't on the call. She had somewhere else to be. She'd mentioned it briefly the day before. No explanation, just somewhere else. That detail sat in my chest for a long time afterward. She never brought it up. Not once. I waited for it, honestly. Some part of me expected a moment, a look across the table, a carefully placed comment, something with an edge to it. She'd earned that much. Most people would have taken it. She didn't. What she did instead was quieter, and I think more final. She started a small financial consulting practice. Just a website, a few clients, word of mouth. Nothing is announced at family dinners. Nobody was invited to celebrate. I found out through someone else entirely, weeks after she'd already begun. The last time we all got together, someone asked Delia what she thought about something. A property decision, I think. Casually. The way you ask someone to pass the salt. She smiled, answered briefly, then turned back to her own conversation, with someone she chose to be there. The shift was so small, but it wasn't. I've been thinking about what we actually did that night. We didn't do anything cruel. That's what makes it hard to sit with. There was no malice in that room, just a kind of casual collective decision that her voice was background noise, that her knowing things was somehow less interesting than his wanting things. We laughed because it was easier than listening, because listening would have meant adjusting. Nobody wants to adjust at a family dinner. If you've ever been the one in that room, the one who said the thing and watched the table decide it wasn't worth taking seriously, you already know how this ends. You don't need me to explain what Delia felt. You felt the specific weight of being right in a room that's already moved on. The last time I saw her, she was pouring coffee, unhurried, talking to someone who was actually listening. She wasn't folding anyone else's shirts.